The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
To Opie's Connection, connecting to the unknown. Lori, we've explored so many different things, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear more about your journey.
Now, I want to empower people to choose the right intuitive for them in this journey. What to expect, what to know, what to do prior to connecting to an intuitive so you can receive the best experience possible.
Perfect. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So I think the biggest thing is to explore different intuitives because there's so many different modalities, which are different ways to receive communication from spirit. There's different types. Some people only do psychic work. Some people only do mediumship. And something that was very interesting that I wasn't aware of when I opened up is not all psychics can do mediumship, but all mediums can do psychic work.
Okay, so there are different levels of intuition or of intuitives. So how do we know who's right for us?
Well, I think the interesting part is to just first recognize the vibrational frequency. So there's different frequencies, and that's how we expand and connect to spirit. So if you think of somebody who engages in tarot, in oracle cards, and those kind of modalities, that's going to be kind of on one spectrum of frequency. Not less or better than others. These are all different frequencies. Then you connect to somebody who does energy work. There's another frequency that they're connecting to and be able to receive that information. Then we have our psychics who are going to connect to information specifically to you. This is information of your journey, anything in your physical body or life choices or different experiences around that. And then somebody who connects to mediumship is going to be a different frequency, and they're going to be able to connect to spirit, your loved ones, different spirit guides, elements like that. We also have another frequency of channeling, where somebody is literally a vessel of consciousness to come through. So they're just a tool. They disassociate from their body so that consciousness can come through and deliver communication to somebody.
Wow, I've never heard of that last one before.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Hey? There's so many different things to explore, and I always encourage people to never get stuck on one. Because we all have our limits, but we all have our abilities to connect in certain ways. So the more you can explore, the more you can play and learn what's a good reception for you of communication and what's not, then you can kind of have something better to navigate from.
So once I decide if I want to see a medium or a psychic or get a card reading, is there something I should know about who to connect to? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of psychic mediums out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of intuitives.
Yes, a lot of people are expanding. There's a lot of things. The biggest thing is I want you to connect to their energy. Check out their website, check out their social media. If they have any YouTubes, any kind of modality out there of information, and see if it connects to you, if you're drawn to their energy, if you resonate with what they're communicating, if their communication style is positive and you are comfortable with that, or if it's a lot more in-depth or analytical and you're more comfortable with that. I want you to be the navigating tool of what is aligned for you and what isn't, because what works for one individual may not be the same for another.
Wow, so we really are intuitively guided even when seeking support intuitively.
Yes, absolutely. So, a daughter can come to me and have the most life-changing connection, but mom might not be ready, and it's a very different experience.
Wow, okay.
And once we do decide what is going to be the right connection point for us, I want you to also take some time and just write a list. I always tell people and encourage them leading up to your appointment, if something's coming to mind, write it down. Write it on a list, have a little piece of paper, and then the morning of that appointment, really look at that and see what the priority points of focus should be, and then the less go down the list. So reorganize it and structure it so the most important is number one and the least important is at the base of the list, and see how much you can go through in that time together.
Okay, so come prepared if you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels like a lot of information, and it could feel really overwhelming, I would imagine.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of times people will be excited and anxious prior to their time. But when they walk into my office, a lot of times people just get overwhelmed by the energy in the office and start crying.
Interesting.
To me, that is the most beautiful gift you can give me, because what's happening is you are connecting to the frequency of unconditional love.
So the emotion that comes through is us, the sitter, connecting to all the love.
All the love, they're already receiving what they're seeking. And everybody feels overwhelmed because it's not a normal reaction emotionally for us. It's not something we're comfortable with a lot of times. Meeting a stranger and crying. It's a vulnerable experience to share this with an intuitive. And I always encourage and celebrate it because it shows trust, it shows vulnerability, but it shows healing. You are connecting to something within and shifting that energy that you no longer have to carry, that you can acknowledge, and you have a safe space to connect and release it.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so powerful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, tears are healing. They're the most incredible thing. So please never put an expectation of I'm not a crier, because usually those are the ones panically looking for the Kleenex, which I have several in my office. Go figure.
It's really a normal process that people go through when tears come out.
Absolutely. And if you are a crier and don't cry, that's okay. Maybe you've released that already, right? There's no expectation there.
Yeah. You welcome everybody with love.
Oh, it's such a great thing. I always feel very excited to support somebody in this, but I also want people to be aware there is a lot of misconceptions these days that people are allowed to give you information. And I want to bring awareness to the dangers of that as well. If you're grocery shopping and somebody's coming up saying, listen, I have this loved one stepping forward, please don't engage in that. You're not in the headspace. You're not in a position to receive it. You may not be emotionally prepared for that. And a lot of times when we are receiving messages, this can impact the rest of our day. We have to integrate it. We have to take time to sit in it and process it.
There's really a preparation process that takes place, not just for you, but for us.
Absolutely.
Receiving. Okay.
And if we are intuitive, we need to respect and honor that of the other individual receiving it. So a lot of people that are giving these messages just randomly, it comes from their need to be acknowledged of their abilities rather than the person receiving it. And about our work is the person receiving it and supporting them and supporting spirit with that as well.
It kind of sounds like there's a code of ethics.
There really is. For me specifically, I have learned and seen a lot, and I've even experienced damage from an intuitive that I was rocked with, and I never ever want somebody to experience that. I want somebody to have the acknowledgement of free will in their choices and know that there are options in their path.
Wow, okay. So you have this very autonomous approach, and you make sure that these people that are receiving are prepared to receive.
Absolutely. Listen, there is no judgment in my office because I have walked so many different journeys. I have been so many different personalities in my growth. And I recognize what those are and where you are in your journey with them. And there's nothing wrong with it. We're here to be human. And Spirit encourages that as well.
It's incredible.
Yes. And the beautiful thing is there's so much more to explore when connecting to an intuitive. There's so many different things to explore and experience and learn. The learning never stops, Lori. So when you come back with us, we will be sharing more about connecting to an intuitive and the experience of it. We'll see you then.
Okay. Okay, so I'm getting impact, vehicle, right side, instant transition, but the body had a little bit of a delay releasing. This individual feels midlife when I connect to them, so between the ages of 20 and 40. Oh, there we go. Okay, that was like a forced hand up by the friend there. That is a friend of love. Hello. That was a committed, do not waste this.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Can I get your name?
Teresa.
And what is this soul's name?
Jeff.
Okay. Whew, that was just, you got rocked. It was just an instant. Were you guys engaged?
He proposed to me, and I told him no because we were too young. We were only 19.
He's laughing as you're saying this, just so
Yeah.
you know.
So he had asked me what age is appropriate, and I said 21. He said, okay, hold the ring until we're 21.
And he
I'll
transitioned right around there?
before, yeah.
Yeah, in the 20s?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He was like, isn't that ironic? He had a fun sense of humor, though. That's
Yeah,
the
he
awkward
was
part
very-
right now. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know what to tell you. He's being awkward, he's laughing, and
Yeah.
he's joyous because he loved you. You guys just knew when you met each other how much you loved each other, but you were like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
This is going to fade. We're too young.
Yeah.
Right? And was he very busy? Like, was he really good academically and everything like that?
He was, yeah. Well,
Did he do a lot of sports?
he did do, yes.
Okay. Because he's showing me that he did a lot because his soul knew that it was going to be a shorter life. And he feels limitless in his love and energy because I feel like he would meet you and he would love you. Does that make sense as well?
He was that way with everyone.
Yeah. And it's just because he just loved life.
Yeah.
He loved life and you were like enthralled by it. You were like connected to it and you were
Yeah.
even engaged in it as well. You were like, wow, like, yes, this is a beautiful rainbow.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see a lot of rainbows?
Yes.
Because what are the chances I would say that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So you see a lot of rainbows and he gives those as confirmation that you're on the right track because you ask him a lot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense as well?
Yeah.
Okay, because he's showing me that sometimes you really struggle with choices because you want to do right and you want to make the right choices and you want
Right.
to go in the right way. Does that make sense as well?
Yeah.
He says you don't have to worry. You're exactly where you need to be. And sorry, do we have a connection now that we're kind of exploring? Okay, so that might be coming your way.
Maybe,
just so
yeah.
you know. He says you're a bit of a tough cookie because you keep your head down.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel safe to love. Does that make sense as well?
Yeah.
He's saying your heart needs to experience that. And that the one that he's going to put in your path is the one that's meant for you. So you don't have to worry. He's kind of doing the picking, but the hard part is you recognizing and being comfortable with it. So I feel like he's put some like pancakes in your path. So you just kind of like boost your self-esteem here or get your toe wet there. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, so he's just kind of laughing because he's like, she's kind of stubborn.
Yeah.
Does that
It's true.
make
Yeah.
sense as well? Sorry. And do you have a really hard time speaking to people?
Yes. Very, yeah.
He's asking for you just to touch your throat when you struggle, just to support that energy force because you're meant to speak your voice. He wants you to kind of hand over the fear. Fear's kind of kept you back in your journey and kind of kept you limited, and making choices on that hasn't exactly worked when it's supposed to. Does that make sense as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and he's just asking for you to trust a little more. It's not meant to be all joyous. we have to
Yeah.
appreciate some of the challenges too, which I'm laughing with him because I'm like, listen, I hear that all the time. I hate it. But he just wants you to know it's with purpose. Okay? And he thanks you for everything that you gave him. He would have married you every year from that point on.
Thank you.
And he owns you as his wife, just so you know. Okay? Thank you for receiving that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So now that you are excited to look and find your intuitive, your psychic, your medium, the next steps are really kind of exciting to step into during your session.
Okay, I can't wait to hear more about this.
Yeah, so Lori, I think the big thing for people to understand is, as we discussed earlier, Spirit has lost their instrument. It's not as though I'm sitting and having a conversation. It's flashes of pieces, flashes of pictures, lots of things in my body happening. I can get cold hands and feet, slaps on the head. They do all sorts of things for me. The important thing is to know your role in it as well. So we have energy around us. We have an energetic orb. We have energy center points in us. And our frequency kind of comes out from us. No matter how you cloak this frequency, it's always going to vibrate through. So if you're really anxious, if you're feeling really low, if you're engaging in a lot of substances, you're going to have a lower frequency. You're going to have a lower expansion on your aura. If you're really positive, joyous, high energy, you're going to have a really strong, solid aura. If you take care of your physical realm, if you're very active, these are things that can impact your energy. But me, for my role as a psychic medium, I'm connecting through you to your loved one. I am connecting through your energy source to get that link. It's not as though I'm going external and they're coming forward here and I'm sharing it to you. I'm literally going through and merging with them through your energy cord to them.
So how I present myself or what I do to take care of myself really impacts how you can connect to Spirit.
Well, and it also impacts as well the process of me communicating something. So I want you to think of us in a session and think of me in an energetic format reaching out to shake your hand. And I'm saying, hey, Spirit sees that you really love crystals and that you enjoy the energy and frequency of them. And this is an extension. Now you can choose to either connect that as, well, you know what, Opie? I sell crystals. Who knew that that would come up? Or you could be, nope, doesn't make sense. And it's like a slap, right? It shuts it down. And then I'm going to come in a different way of two hands going, well, you know, they keep flashing this image around you and they keep sharing these pieces and my hands are going to go, and nope, that doesn't make sense. So all of a sudden the cords get shut down. So it's our choice of how we receive the information and receiving it towards us. And once you say, you know, Opie, that makes sense, especially, you know, recently I've purchased a whole bunch of them, all of a sudden it becomes stronger. The connection holds on. And the more validation, the more momentum comes from my connection, the more the energy can flow. So the more you can validate and confirm the pieces that are Spirit coming, it really creates a different opportunity. But that being said, I don't want you leading it. I want you to give us the opportunity to provide those pieces so that it's not disingenuine. So you have that opportunity to receive what you were thinking and then experience.
Yeah, it really is up to the sitter to gain what you're saying and try to find the little pieces and really understand what you're saying.
Yeah, or or receive it, right?
Yeah.
It just really having that
Interpret.
validating piece of, wow, okay, no, that does resonate for me. That does make sense, right? But it's interesting too, because sometimes people come in and they have a lot of doubt.
Okay. So you do get people that are skeptical.
Yes,
Okay.
I love the energy of skepticism.
Oh.
So there's a different type of skepticism. There's positive and negative, okay? So people who want to believe but don't, I love working in that energy, because they want to experience it, they've seen it, but they want that validation. They want to know that that's genuine. So they come in with an open perspective and no expectations. That energy is like butter to me. It is beautiful to be able to flow and give them that experience. But if somebody comes into the energy of prove it to me, it's very different to work in, because I don't need to prove anything in my work. If you want to believe, you will, and if you don't, that's okay. You don't need to.
It kind of feels like someone coming in with that way of thinking might actually be rejecting some pieces that are coming through.
Yes, sometimes they really do have a short sight for what Spirit is trying to provide for them. They're limited. Psychic amnesia is a good thing too. That occurs, and a lot of times there's a processing afterwards, and that's when I get the follow-up email or the phone call Monday, and I, by that time, of course, have forgotten.
So sometimes things don't connect in a session.
Yes.
And then later it can come up.
And you know, it's interesting too, because a lot of times I'll give information, they'll be like, I'm not even writing that down. And then 6 months later, I'm in a session with them. Opie, you would not believe it. And I laugh because I'm at this point saying, there's not much I don't believe. So it's interesting to see that sometimes the seed is planted, but it's not meant for us to understand until later.
So, you know, in saying that, I'm wondering, how have people experienced what you do for them? Do you get to hear from people later on?
I think it's the most beautiful gift when people can really validate the life-changing experience of connecting to Spirit. There's nothing that brings me more joy for the purpose of my work when people really take the time to celebrate the life-changing experiences they have had. I have seen people be crippled in grief and not be able to experience life, not get out of bed, and finally find the joy and excitement to get up every day knowing their loved one walks with them, to experience the beautiful aspects that Spirit's encouraging them to connect to. I've seen individuals who have suffered intense negative relationships and be free of that, and all of a sudden connecting to a new empowerment and discovering who they are. That is something I just love. I also have seen people transform careers, step into entrepreneurship. And I think the most exciting thing is, for me, connecting and supporting parents connecting to their children. As a mother, I can't imagine longing for that connection and that communication. And to be able to provide that is a gift. It really is a gift for them and for me to be able to share that with them. I've also seen incredible things with connection points through my forensic work of supporting people in finding missing persons or knowing when there was a timeline that they would be able to connect to somebody. Different pieces around that has been incredibly empowering as well. It's very challenging in the moment, but if we can get that positive outcome, I mean, that's why I do my work.
Wow, that's incredible. So forensics and helping families feel hope.
Yes, well, and I'm just a tool when it comes to missing persons or cold case situations, but the more clarity or perspective I can bring to something that needs attention, I'm happy to do so. It's interesting, Spirit always provides just pieces with that, but usually I get confirmation when they all come together and everything makes sense then.
So you're sort of just receiving these puzzle pieces.
Yes, that's so true. I receive the puzzle pieces and then we kind of put it together as a team, either yourself afterwards processing, or in our time together, we will get that validation or that confirmation.
So this really does sound like a collaborative approach. It's not just you receiving information, but going through the sitter and combining and working together as a team.
And this, Lori, is why you need to be very cautious and selective on who is the right alignment for your energy. So I encourage you to explore intuition, explore psychic mediums, and I hope it's a positive experience for you. And I hope this information today gives you pieces in your journey ahead.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today.